Hey everyone, I'm Purge and welcome to another anime update. Now, I realize it's been a while since I did an anime update. Before I was doing them once a week. Now, I started to think that was a bit too frequent because then I'd find myself kind of forcing myself to watch as much anime as I could just to have content to talk about in the update. So, I thought I would do it a little bit more infrequently from now on. I thought I would take the time in between to do some more digital board game videos, but that didn't happen either because stuff came up. But I'll get back to board games soon. Anyway, and also just to just a note, when I say force myself to watch anime, it sounds like I don't even want to watch it. I do. It's just that I was pushing myself to just use all my free time to watch anime when I could have just, like as I'm doing now, just had the updates less frequent and took the pressure off. Anyway, that's besides the point. Let's get on with the actual um, content of this update. And firstly, as always, we'll start off with what I finished since last update. So we go to last updated, and we start with 86. Now, 86, the story is there's a war between two nations, and the weapons they use are big kind of tank like drones. However, the nation that the story is focused on says they're unmanned. However, they're not unmanned, they're piloted by people, but in the country, those people who are collectively called the 86 because they live in the 86th district of the country, they have no rights of their own, and legally, they're not even classed as human. And the story is pretty interesting because it doesn't really focus on the war, it focuses on the relationship between one group of these people and another person that's tasked with working with them. And it also sort of goes into the kind of politics and government implications of the situation they're in. It's a really interesting sort of take on a kind of war mecha anime, which I really like. The animation is good, the characters are good, the interpersonal relationships are believable. It's actually really good, and I gave it an 8. It's very, very good. Um, Immediately after I finished 86, I went on to watch 86 Part 2, which is essentially the second season. Now, it expands on the already established plot and goes in a kind of like another direction. 86 Part 2, where it involves um, yet another country and what happens um, when their situation is applied to situation that's already going on in the country that the part one focused on. But part two is just as good. It has a actually a pretty good conclusion as well. And again, it's quality kept up in part two, really good as well. Also gave it an 8. Then I finally got around to watching When They Cry Kai. Now, When They Cry Kai is actually the sequel to the original Higurashi When They Cry, and When They Cry Kai actually concludes that story. Um, the as I mentioned in the previous video, when I mentioned Higurashi, it's a kind of a murder mystery with kind of pseudo supernatural elements, but you don't really know what's going on. It's set in a small village, and these kids have to kind of figure out what's going on. There's a lot more to it than that, and it's actually really engaging. And Kai like expands on the already established story with some quite impactful revelations. And as I said, it does conclude the story of the original Higurashi. So if you watched the original Higurashi and you liked it, absolutely 100% you have to watch I as well. But yeah, again, really good. I gave it an 8, very, very good indeed. Then I went on to Mob Psycho 102. Of course, the second season of Mob Psycho 100 because I really liked the first season. In it, a in it, people exist with psychic powers, and they're called espers, and quite a few of them will use their powers to um, destroy evil spirits. And the main character, named Mob, he's a middle schooler, and he's a very powerful psychic. And he actually does use his powers to vanquish evil spirits, but he also does a good job of telling the story about like him navigating life as a middle schooler as well, despite his powers. And also, there's another aspect of the anime that was in the first season as well. That if its emotional capacity goes to 100%, um, uh, something really kind of profound happens, which I won't go into because obviously it's quite interesting. The second season, even though I gave it an 8 like I did the first season, the second season is arguably a bit better than the first season. Now, the second season has quite a simple story, but it expands on some of the characters, and there's some good character growth here, and there's a lot of action in this second season. That's really well done, really good. So arguably, it is better than the first season, but again, if you like Mob Psycho, the first season, absolutely watch the second one. Then straight after that, I watched the OVA, the one episode OVA for the second season called The First Spirits and Such Company Trip, a journey that mends the heart and heals the soul. It's about the employees of the Spirits and Such Company going on a trip, vacation, to do a job to find out what's going on at this hotel, like a better word. And it's a one episode OVA. It's pretty fun. It doesn't do anything profound. It doesn't actually um, do anything particularly amazing with the characters, but it is a fun watch. It's a fun little episode. I actually give it a 7. Yeah, it's worth a watch. It's pretty good. Then I watched Akudama Drive. Now, the best way I can describe Akudama Drive is if Blade Runner and Cyberpunk had a baby, that baby would be Akudama Drive. It is very futuristic, very cyberpunk in the sort of in the overall look of the show and the sort of technology that they use. Um, Essentially, what happens is that a group of criminals, which are known as Akudama, they are tasked with this job, this mission that pays really, really well, but is incredibly dangerous. And funny thing is, the main character, a girl, who comes to be known as Swindler, and that'll become clear why when you actually watch the show. But the girl is kind of just there because of bad luck, and then she's kind of like there and along for the ride, but she's there out of total happenstance and bad luck, which makes it quite interesting. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. Again, the animation is absolutely top notch. The action sequences are really, really good as well. The overall look of the anime and the kind of cityscape is really, really well done. And again, there's some really good um, character development, character interaction. The story is kind of like sort of really well paced. Yeah, I gotta be honest, Academic Drive is really good, and I also gave this one a lot of eights. Is the last update. Academic Drive, really good, highly recommend it. In fact, I haven't mentioned this before, but anything that I give at least an 8 to, um, just take that as a 100% recommendation. It's easily recommendable by me. So yeah, Academic Drive, really good. Highly recommend it. So that was everything I completed since last video. Now let's go on to what I'm watching. Now, only one thing's on there, and as you may not be surprised to find, it is actually Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm up to episode 151 right now. Since the last update, I think I've watched 7 episodes. Um, Once again, I'm in an arc that is technically not canon and it's just all filler, but unlike the so-called like Noah arc, the arc I'm in now, I don't even know what the arc would actually be called. The Dragon arc, something like that. The arc I'm in now, even though it's not canon, it is filler. It is pretty interesting. It is good. Again, I really like sort of Yu-Gi-Oh! I probably should really again pick up the pace with watching it, but yeah, I'm getting through it. It's still really good. So that's everything I've been watching. Now we'll go to the up next editions, and as you can see here, as the title of the video would suggest, an all new up next editions. So we have 5 new ones here. First up is a recommendation 19. As always, I picked it at random, the recommended to me list, and this just happens to be the one I picked. Vivi Fluorite Eyes Song. Now, from what I read, I don't know much about it, but from what I read, two AIs have to work together to prevent a war between humans and AI that will actually happen 100 years into the future. It sounds really interesting. It looks good. I am actually looking forward to watching it. So there's Vivi Fluorite Eyes Song. Next up, we have Mob Psycho 103, the third season of Mob Psycho, for obvious reasons. I've put this on the list because again, I really like Mob Psycho and I do want to watch season 3. Then we have When They Cry Ray. Now, When They Cry Ray, you might think it's I've put it on here because it's a sequel to Kai. It isn't. Fully enough, it turns out everything past Kai is actually non-canon and even technically skippable. Obviously, I don't intend to skip them, but yeah, all everything past Kai is non-canon. So Ray isn't a sequel to Kai. It's just the next thing that came out after Kai. It's just the next anime that came out after Kai. So it's obviously the next thing to watch. So there we go. When They Cry Ray. I don't know where the story goes in this one, but it'd be interesting finding out. So that was When They Cry Ray. Next is Desert Punk. It's I think it's about a guy in this post-apocalyptic desert world who does like good deeds. He's basically this like desert hero, and he has a really good reputation amongst the public. Then he meets a girl that essentially ruins his reputation, and then he has to kind of build it back up. That's like all I know about it, but it sounds interesting, and it's pretty well like Desert Punk. So there's that. Then, lastly, Akiba Maid War. Now, all I really know about this is that it's an action crime anime about girls in a maid cafe who, I could be completely wrong about this, who have to kind of fight each other. Um, hence the name Akiba Maid War. I could be wrong about the last part, but obviously when I come to watch it, I'll give a more accurate synopsis of the story. So yeah, that's I Keep a Maid War, and with that, that's everything on my up next list. So we've done completed, watching, and up next. So that is it, folks, for this update. I hope you like the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.